What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Indiana Jones as well as this developer direct, and they are connected, but Indiana Jones got an additional rumor on top of it. Very exciting day for Xbox after all of this, online hate and back and forth as what in God's name they're doing with their backlog, and we've talked a little bit about that on the channel the last few days. Now we get something definitive, something that they have announced, and something that seems very, very cool. This year's developer direct. This coincides with what they did last year, and if you remember, last year they stealth dropped Hi-Fi Rush. I don't think they're going to do something to that scale again. I don't want to set my expectations there. Hi-Fi Rush was my second favorite game of 2023. So I don't want to think that every developer direct we get from Xbox, they're just going to drop the next day one of my game of the years, right? That's not what I want to do. But what we even know is going to be there is already exciting, and I want to talk a bit about that. What's not there is a little interesting to me. And then we have, okay, could you do some sort of stealth drop? To do that really, really quick, there have been rumors about Double Fine, right, makers of Psychonauts and one of my classics, Brutal Legend, amongst many others, Costume Quest, etc. Rumor is that they might do it. I'm not going to expect it. If we get what they say we're going to get, and that's it, that's fine. That's a pretty good show just to kind of randomly drop in the beginning of middle of January, I guess, at that point, right? If they give us more, if a game comes out that day or the day after, that's just kind of, a cherry on top. So let's start with Indiana Jones. This doesn't seem like it's like a logo and then they're just piecing out, right? In their thing, they talk about like 10 minutes. Now, is it 10 minutes of gameplay? I don't expect 10 minutes of gameplay. I'm just kind of shocked it's there at all, to be honest with you. There were rumors that it was going to be Indiana Jones, and I never believed them because it's like, well, why, right? You think of Indiana Jones and you think that game's not coming out in 2024, but you know what? Now, you could believe it or not, but to coincide with the direct, announcement, you had Insider Gaming, Tom Henderson's website, right? And Tom himself is probably the best insider on the face of the earth, right? Himself. The website maybe muddies it. They do a lot of rumors, and sometimes they get it wrong. So just to throw that out there. But they say, Insider Gaming says, that this game is coming out this year, 2024. That would be nuts. That would be absolutely nuts. Now, I don't want them to rush it. And we have talked about like the timetable with Indiana Jones. The game hasn't been in the works for all that long. I believe when they first announced it, they had said that they had just started maybe within the past year before it. So this game has probably only been in development for like 3.5 or so years. You can maybe go a little bit longer than that, but you can't get me to say like 5-6 years, which to me, I mean, that's under the average, right, for the industry. So look, that's a rumor. I don't know that for sure, but hey, guess what? Because this thing is at this direct, you got to give the rumor at least some sort of look, right? Like, why would it be there? Why would it be at this direct versus something else? And, I want to talk about it in a second, but why would they have it there if the game is a year and a half, 2 years away from releasing? Why would it be there? So I don't know. I'm not expecting it this year. I think at best it might be like a November game, and then maybe, you push it to 2025, or maybe it's just 2025 in general. But still, that'd be pretty wild to see literally anything. And they literally say, like, you're going to find out how you're going to play the game. So I think third person, I don't know if that was confirmed. I think I remember reading it, but I don't know if that was a rumor. Maybe they'll talk about that. Maybe they'll show it. I assume we'll see what kind of genre, I guess, of game it is. Logo, a little background as to what the story is. Maybe you see some gameplay. Maybe you don't. Something like that. Regardless, honestly, that's already a shock. Like, that alone almost makes the show, because that's a game I've been looking forward to, or at least very curious about. I don't know, how amazing it can be. Machine Games, now they normally put out top tier stuff. They do make some mistakes here and there. Normally they do excellent work. This is a different kind of game than what they normally make. So all things considered, I'm curious. I think it can be extremely good, but you don't know that right for sure. On top of it, two other things I kind of want to go through. Number one, a thing not gonna be there, Stalker. That kind of surprises me because Stalker seemingly is coming out like imminently, like in the next couple months. From, I think there were like pages, store pages on Xbox, and just a lot of talk of like this is that first quarter game that's going to be, released for Xbox and PC, that exclusivity. They want a game every quarter, and this is the first one. Now, like, we're getting closer and closer. I know the new year just started, but January, February, March, like, we're in that territory. So I don't know if it still is coming out before then. Maybe that's like the April, May, June game, right? But Hellblade has something to say about that. I'll say that in a second. So I'm not saying I'm worried, because, like, I'm not trying to make this like a narrative that because Stalker 2 is not there that something's wrong. Not trying to do that. I'm just kind of curious why they picked what they picked. Because Hellblade, like, I understand. Indiana Jones is kind of like a curveball. Like, well, why would you put that there? But then not having Stalker, it's like, oh, so you're not really going in order, and that's not a bad thing. I'm like literally curious, right? Like, what's the background of like how you pick these games out? And then the final thing to say, and there's other games besides Hellblade and Indiana Jones, okay? I don't have too much interest in them. I'm not going to talk about them or highlight them. I'm kind of just going over my personal highlights, and we can maybe talk about all of them once this show happens. But Hellblade, okay? Senua's Sacrifice, right? You gotta give a release date. You do not. Number one, you've shown this game a lot. You've shown this game every chance you have, and I'm not complaining. I think this game is going to be excellent, okay? You have all of this stuff that we've already seen. It was just at the Game Awards, and it's actually been at the Game Awards, I think, 2 or 3 times, or other Jeff Keighley shows, 2 or 3 times. You didn't show a release date. If it's going to be at this Developer Direct, and I believe with Hellblade specifically, it's behind-the-scenes stuff. Now, I don't get worried about that because we've already seen a good chunk of gameplay and like in-game cinematics and stuff. So, okay, if you want to talk about the technology, that's whatever. But let me tell you something. You better end it by giving a release date, right? There is no world, I don't care what you show Hellblade 2 related, you need at the end of it to say game comes out May whatever, June whatever. I think, and this is why Stalker is so kind of confusing to me, I think Hellblade is in the spring. I think Hellblade is somewhere in that April, May, June period, and that's when it releases. Could it release in the fall? Sure. But now, like, well, Indiana Jones, does that release in the fall, right? So that's kind of what I think about Hellblade. You got to give a date. You're only like 3, 4, 5 months out. Now is the time. So those are kind of the things I wanted to emphasize. I get excited for pretty much any show, right? Anytime you show me games or show me news or updates on games, I do just, by default get excited. So I'll be watching. I'm not going to co-stream it. I know I got a couple questions asking me about that. Not going to be able to co-stream it, but later in the day, we'll go over everything that we saw. Maybe we'll make individual videos on like Indiana Jones, let's say. And maybe we can just do that. Hellblade, Indiana Jones, etc. But I'll definitely be covering it. I just won't be co-streaming it, okay? Going to be a lot of fun, though. I'm honestly pretty excited. And let's see if we get a shadow drop. Can we get anything, any game, any DLC, whatever? Can something happen that day, the day after? That'd be pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.